Hey guys, my name is Matsumio, and welcome to an episode of Monday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I'll give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you'd like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question for today is, do you think that Siege needs a whole year of Operation Health to repair the game? I have not been enjoying the game due to its problems, such as hit reg, sound issues, and glitches, and the more content they add, the more problems I see. Delaying content would be boring for the game, but it is good for the game's health. So it's hard to dispute that many people are not happy with the current state of Rainbow Six Siege. I am constantly hearing from the community that Siege just isn't what it used to be. From the toxicity issue, the bugs and glitches all over the place, it's leading to a very unsatisfying experience, and many people are leaving for other titles. I even took a look over at the Steam charts to kind of get an idea of how well the player base is, and while things are not as doom as gloom as a lot of people try to make it out to be, it's nowhere near that bad. There is still a ton of people playing Rainbow Six Siege, but there is a trend downward. For example, with this most recent season, Steel Wave, we didn't see as much of a bump in the player counts. Now, this is just on the Steam. We don't know what the player base is on Ubisoft's own Uplay because they don't share that information, but I imagine there's also this downward trend. On top of that, over the last 3 months leading up to Steel Wave, we saw a big decrease in the overall player counts. Now, admittedly, this does happen every single season, but not this dramatic. Everyone gets excited for the new content, they come back to the game, enjoy it for about a month, and then they slowly trickle away until the new season releases. And so that does occur, but not to this extreme. Now, we'll never know for certain why this is happening. It could be for a lot of reasons. It could be because people just don't have as much time to play video games right now. It could be new games have released that are capturing the attention of Siege players, and once they're done with those, they'll come back and return. But I have a suspicion it's because the game is in its current state. A lot of people just are not satisfied right now, and they're waiting for the game to improve. Now, with your suggestion, having an entire year locked down to just trying to fix bugs and glitches, I feel like that is a bit extreme. I definitely think that Ubisoft needs to address these problems as soon as possible, but just completely removing all future and new content so that they can just try and resolve this, I think that that would be a bigger indication that the game is flawed at a core level, which I don't really think is the case. The reason why we had Operation Health back in the day is that they had to go into their infrastructure and redesign it almost from the ground up so that they could actually have a game that wasn't glitchy every single time they came out with a new update. Now, I know that some of you guys are probably thinking that's very ironic because every single season we do get a lot of bugs and glitches, but I don't think you guys realize how bad it was back before Operation Health. Like, they really tuned things up. Things got significantly better, and I think it's the reason why the game is, in my opinion, as good or as successful as it is today, even with the problems that we experience. And so I do not think that we need to go to the extreme to literally dedicate an entire year or even half a year to just solving bugs and glitches. In general, though, I completely understand where you're coming from. Your frustration is mirrored throughout the player base. As I stated, there are a ton of people that are just not happy with the current state of things, and I'm hopeful that Ubisoft is going to be able to address a lot of these issues in a timely manner. Now, they have been transparent about these problems and how they're going to go about fixing them, but actions are going to speak louder than words. They need to try to fix this quickly enough so that we don't continue to see this downward trend in that player base. The next question is, what do you think of adding a operator mastery / account level reward in Rainbow Six Siege? This could be a camo or a different color charm, for example, like the seasonal ones. The account level has always been kind of worthless if you ever played from the beginning. I really like the idea, at least conceptually, of having an operator mastery system added into the game. Being able to show off to other players that you have dedicated a lot of time to a particular character. You probably know what you're doing. Let's be honest, time in isn't necessarily going to mean that you're the best with that operator, but at least kind of rewarding the players for putting in the time and giving them a camo that is specific to that operator, I think would be really cool. Where we start to run into some issues, though, is I believe a system system like this would just incentivize people to main operators. Players are going to want those rewards, and so if they're going after Castle's camo, they're going to play Castle every single round, even if it doesn't make sense on that particular objective. Now, admittedly, people already do this. That's the reason why there are Ashe and Jaeger mains. You see it constantly, but in my opinion, that is not the best or most beneficial way to help your team. Yeah, you should be comfortable with a character, but you should bring the operator that is going to be best suited for that objective. And so while I love the idea of this, I don't know how they could reward people for spending time in this game for an operator without this kind of occurring. And so I think a better way of handling it, and you talk about it in your question, is just have level rewards. Once you hit level 30 of your account, you get a new cosmetic item. This has been something that people have been asking for basically ever. Like literally year one, people are like, this level means nothing. I think maybe the first couple, because that's what you need to be able to play ranked and stuff like that. But after that, it's meaningless. It's literally just how much time you've spent in the game. And so all in all, I am all for this. I really like it when game devs recognize their dedicated player base and give back to them. It's amazing that you're rank 400. Here's a cool cosmetic item. It doesn't need to be anything earth-shatteringly awesome. They don't need to spend like an insane amount of time doing it, but just to give back and let those players then show off to their friends or people that they're going against, like, hey, I've spent this much time in the game. Like, I think that'd be really cool. It probably won't happen considering we're already like 5 years in, but I do think that would be a nice gesture. The next question comes from Curtis, and it is, what are your thoughts on a buff to Kali where if you hit someone in the arm, you don't one-shot down them, but you knock them back like Nomad? That is a very unique suggestion. Personally, I feel like this goes a bit too far because while it is annoying to essentially get a hit marker as Kali, if you get them in the limb, it only does like 60 damage. And so in that window to get that next shot off, that's plenty of time for someone to take you out because of that slow RPM. I think that by actually causing the person to fall to the ground, that is going to make it very easy for Kali to just simply finish them off. Now, there will be situations where they would just fly back through a doorway or behind a barricade or something to block the line of sight, and so Kali isn't going to be able to do that every single time, but I hope you kind of understand where I'm coming from. On the other hand, though, I got to admit, there is a part of me that would just love to have this aspect to Kali just to physically cause people to fly around the map. Like, that would be really cool. I cannot lie. That would be amazing, but I just don't know if that would be the best way to improve her. Honestly, I think that she's in a much better spot now ever since they gave her access to a better secondary. She's not like top tier, but she's in a much better place. And so I think we might want to give it a bit more time before they go on in and make any large sweeping changes, because this would be a big adjustment. The next question comes from Travis, and it is, should they get rid of the pick and ban phase? I'm gonna go with a no. I understand why people may not like it because admittedly, a lot of times it isn't used exactly the way that I think Ubisoft intended it would, but I think by and large, it's been a positive addition to the game. A really good example of this that quite literally just happened is with Malusi. A lot of people felt like she was overpowered when she released. 3 Banshees, massive AoE that slows people down when they're in the vicinity, and it also makes an audible noise, letting people know that you're nearby. That was an obstacle that was quite difficult to overcome, and many people didn't want to play against it. And so instead of having to wait weeks for her to get nerfed, or in the past, it would normally take months for an operator to get tuned, Lion and Ella are prime examples of this. It took like 6 months for Ella's pick rate to finally be in line with other characters. Instead of having to wait that long, you can just sideline Malusi on until then, and then when the change goes through, then you can kind of reassess, and does she need to get banned constantly? I think that is a good addition to Siege. I also think this allows for a wider variety of different strategies that would not normally be possible. If your team has a particular tactic that works well, but gets completely countered by, let's say, Mira, instead of just having to just say, oh, well, I guess we can't do that anymore, we'll just sideline Mira at the beginning, and now you can use that strategy that you've been working on. I think that allows for really cool new dynamics. Now, with that said, though, I do understand where you're coming from. A lot of people get a bit too too comfortable during this phase and will just ban characters because it's the popular choice. Yes, Jackal is annoying, but is he that annoying to get sidelined every single game? No, there are some maps where he's really not all that great. It would be much more beneficial to choose another character that's actually strong on this map, or someone who admittedly probably would be much more beneficial. And so I do understand that criticism, but I don't think you're ever going to have a perfect system. I think that by and large, what it has added to the game is a positive, and while there are a few negatives, it doesn't detract from the overall experience. But that is just my 2 cents. But yeah, guys, that is what it for today's episode of Monday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Do you think that Kali needs an upgrade? Why or why not? Let me know what you guys think down below. As always, if you'd like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.